All right. Hey, you guys. Good to see you, and good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you guys are. And as a matter of fact, please do tell us where you are. We always enjoy that. And we're going to have some fun today. I'm going to process some images for you using Silver Efex Pro. I don't know if you saw my webinar last Thursday. It was really a lot of fun. But this is going to be, I'm going to pick another image and maybe process one of those again that I showed you. So be sure to ask your questions in the chat. Hi, Yvette from London. Okay. Be sure to put your questions in the chat as I'm going through it. I don't mind stopping and answering questions, or if, that's better at the end, we'll do that. But, processing, remember the 5 stages of photography. First you visualize, then you've got to know your equipment, right? Capture, then you process, and then you get it out to the world. Amy, hey. So processing is definitely a key part of that whole cycle. And more and more I'm calling it developing, because the thing is, you just like in the darkroom days, we go in and we develop a photograph. It's like the concept is you're taking whatever you've got in terms of a negative, and you are developing it. You're adding to it. You're bringing out the blacks or whatever, what you want to enhance. And that develops the image. And it's such a magical thing in a darkroom. If you haven't ever experienced it, you really should. You're sitting there, you have these safety lights, which are orange, and they're not very bright. It's designed so it doesn't interfere with the paper sensitivity of the paper and make it dark. And you're there and you're moving the tray back and forth, and all of a sudden the image starts to come through, and it just little by little it gets stronger and stronger, and there it is. It's amazing. And, in our digital world we kind of lose track of what that's like, but in the darkroom it was this really cool kind of process. And hey, namaste to you, Parabaku, and also hi, Rachel from Seattle. Good to see you there again. Good to have you back with us. So we're going to have a little magic. What's great about this software is that it really emulates what's going on in the darkroom. So I'll take you guys through it. All right, well, let's get officially started here. So before we go any further, remember to subscribe and enable the bell so you don't miss any of our new broadcasts. And if you don't know who I am Marc Silber, and I'm an author, educator, photographer in Carmel, California. And our show today is brought to you by our friends at DxO Labs. Hey, listen, you guys, if you've been around me, my mantra is get stuff printed. DxO will help you. They are awesome. I've been using them for decades. I have friends like Scott Kelby who uses them, Bob Holmes, These are awesome people. They work as a team to help you get what you need, which are prints of various kinds. And here's some of their specials. 20% off on these cool gallery boards. You can see they're printed and they can be put on a stand. 20% off. There's a coupon there. Canvas wraps. See how it wraps around the frame? Those are cool. 20% off on those too. Acrylic prints. Those are beautiful. 20% off. Looks like everything is 20% off on those special products. And then, as always, you can get 25% off on your first order. So after the show, you guys should order something. Take that 25% off if this is your first order. Get some prints made. It's so important to have prints on your wall. Sometimes I look at people's work and I go, well, have you printed this? This is an incredible photograph. I got a photograph this morning. I'm not going to show it because I have to ask the parents, but my son Ian's daughter, Jo, she's 2 weeks old, with her mom, just gorgeous picture, looking at each other. And there's such a connection. It was just gorgeous. Anyway, I said, Ian, you got to get a print made of that. That's incredible. Okay, guys. So thanks for more of you, Jeff, well, and keep joining us. Also, would you guys don't mind give me a thumbs up on the chat there, because it actually apparently helps the algorithm and helps other people find out about what we're doing here. All right, let's get into some processing. So I talked last week about kind of the why I like black and white. You can refer to that if you want to hear more about it. But today I just want to talk to you about more of the techniques of processing. So I am using Lightroom to start with. You can, you can use whatever editing platform you want. You don't have to use a specific platform. I use Lightroom, I use Photoshop. Those are my main go-tos, but a lot of you guys I know are using Capture One. Whatever you use, you can start up with Silver Efex Pro, but I'm going to show you my workflow. This is a pretty mundane photograph. It's not very exciting. I like the angle of it, and that's about it, but there's not much punch to this photograph. So what I want to do is I'm going to process it as a black and white. So remember, the first thing you do before you press the shutter or before you start processing is you visualize the image. And that's why, first of all, why am I choosing black and white? Because I can visualize what this will look like as a black and white. And my goal will be to bring out these clouds. And I want to create a full dynamic range, which means, as pure white as I can get, pure black as I can get. I want to get that dynamic range. So the first thing I do when I look at an image is in Lightroom here, I'm looking at it in terms of, is there anything I really need to adjust exposure-wise? I'm going to move this over here so you can see the histogram there. Let's go to the develop module though. So, I might just pull the highlights back a little bit, see how that's okay, just a little bit. They're a little over there. And I might open the shadows up a little bit, not too much. I don't really want to make this area too bright here, so I just opened it up a little bit. I always like to mess around with the blacks and the whites, and I press down my Option key or Alt on a PC. And when you do that, it'll show you when you start to peek out this is in the blacks. I don't mind having this area lost. I really don't mind that at all. And I don't mind certain areas, where the blacks are getting clipped. And then let's see what we're going to do with the whites here. I'm going to also press the Option key, move it to the right. See, I don't want to blow out that stuff, so I'm not going to go very far. Okay. I didn't really do much there, just tiny little tweaks. I pulled the highlights down already. I don't have anything else I want to do. So what I'm going to do here is right click and edit in Silver Efex Pro. Here we go. And it's going to say edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments. Yeah, of course, because I just adjusted it. I want to use those adjustments. And through the magic, boom, 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 we bring up Silver Efex Pro. Okay. If you're not familiar with this interface, I'm going to walk you through it. So basically, these are all presets, and there's a whole bunch of them. There's 58 in here, but I've whittled it down to my favorites. I click on my favorites over here. I've got, I think, 9 in my favorites. And basically what I do is I just click through. This is neutral. It hasn't really done much magic yet. It's not very exciting, so that I'm not going to use. This is high contrast. No, not the look I'm looking for. And it's just, this is, again, based on my visualization, what I kind of saw as the photograph. We're getting closer here. This is called high structure. Let's see if we got a better match. Another high structure, smooth. We're getting close, but we're not there yet. Yeah, I like this one. So this is full dynamic, number 15, full dynamic range, harsh, it says. Let's see what this one looks like. This is called Wet Rocks. See, we lose the clouds there. I don't like that. I want the clouds to pop out. And this is more silver. You know, that's pretty close to the other one. I'm not sure. Let's just see. It's going to be between these two here. I'll go back to full dynamic. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that one. There's some things I want to change about it. You know, it's really a toss-up. The thing I don't like about the full dynamic is I don't really want the girders here to be so bright. I'm going to fix that. But I do like what it's doing as far as bringing out the clouds. Let's just look at more silver again. And this is it, you guys, just trial and error. I'm going to go with full dynamic. This is a starting point, okay? So this is the one I'm going to start with. Now that I picked my preset, I'm going to close it so I get more real estate there. See how that is? I'm going to get everything out of the way that I don't need. Okay. Well, okay, so that's a starting point. It's you know, here's what we've already gone from, just so we can do a comparison. You can see on the left that's a split, and this is what it looks like. So we're already a little bit better. Remember, I wanted a good dynamic range. We brought out the clouds. We're getting somewhere with one preset. Now up here, I love this. If you guys have ever studied Ansel Adams, let me move this over a little bit so you can see this better. Okay. So this is the Ansel Adams zone system. It wasn't just developed by Ansel Adams. Fred Picker and a couple other guys developed this with Ansel. And it's basically a way of visualizing your photograph from pure black, which is zone 0, to pure white, which is zone 10. And when you hover over this, you can actually see what's present in each zone. So cool. I love this. Now, we don't have any pure blacks here that I'm seeing. You can see as I get into zone 1, there's a little bit showing up right here underneath there. Underneath the span there's some zone 1 stuff. Can you guys see that? It might be a little hard. And then as we get into the other zones, they're becoming more apparent. And then, yeah, it just highlights whatever zone you've got going on there. So this is pretty cool. I can go through the whole thing. I don't have a zone 10 either. So that tells me if I want a complete dynamic range, I'm going to have to enhance the blacks and I'm going to have to enhance the whites. So we're going to kind of go in that direction. Now, there's a lot of places I could start all these sliders here. I'm going to start way down here. Now, if you've ever used colored filters on black and white, you know what these different filters do. And I happen to know that red is going to be the right filter because red will enhance the blacks in the sky. I just know that from working with filters. So look what happens when I apply a red filter to this. Boom. Now I brought out the blacks in the sky. It's also augmented the white, not the white, but the gray, you know, the lower gray here. I'm not really crazy about that because it sort of pulls your eye away from the span here. I'm going to fix that. But just so you can see, you can just try your different filters. And honestly, you guys, a lot of this is trial and error. So you try, that's an orange, here's a yellow. Let's see what that does. Yeah, I'm not getting any joy out of these here. Okay. Yeah, that's a blue filter. I'm going to go back to red. Okay, so there's red. There's a lag between. There we go. Okay, I like that because it is bringing out the clouds. It's getting a little crisper, dark, you know, the edges here are a little crisper. I think that's looking pretty good. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the film types. Now, I love this about Silver Efex Pro because I am essentially, basically a film photographer. And I know my films, and one of the ones I use all the time is Panatomic X. Let's see how that looks. Ooh. See, that just popped it even a little bit more. And I'm not even going to look, but you can scroll down these other films till you find one that you like. I'm going to stop at Panatomic X. I don't want to waste a lot of time going through a bunch of other films. See, that's way too contrasty. So, okay, let's go back to our good friend Panatomic X. ISO 32, you guys. Think about that. I mean, that's a very fine-grained film, but you're also, a lot of times you're going to have to shoot with a tripod when you use that. Okay, so we're getting a lot closer. Again, let's do a comparison here. Look at how much more, definition we brought to the structure here, and we've definitely brought out the clouds. You can do this again and just do your split screen. So that's cool. We're getting there. So what else do I want to do? I'm going to, I don't see a lot that I'm going to play around with in any of these sliders. I don't really need to change brightness. The soft contrast is already fine. I'm not going to do that. I don't need to bring out structure. Is like clarity and texture in Lightroom. I'm seeing plenty of that. I don't feel like there's anything I need to do with the structure. So what I am going to do is I do want to bring down these girders here. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to get a control point, and I'm going to pop it over, start over here, and you can adjust the size of the control point. I'm going to get it. I'm really just targeting the girder area here, where it's, to me, a little too bright. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to size it so that it's, there we go, come on. I'm going to get the right size of this thing. Okay, there we go. All right, so now over here, underneath the control point, control points are awesome because they allow you to selectively edit parts of your image. So there's a couple of ways I can bring that down. I'm going to try this first of all. See where it says amplify whites? I'm going to go the opposite direction, and I'm going to kind of devalue the whiteness in this. Let's just slide it back and forth. You can see what's going on here. Yeah, that's not really doing what we want. So that's not, and if you don't like it, just double click and it'll send it back where it came from. So let's just take the brightness down. So you notice it's getting a little darker there. If I slide it all the way over, there we go. It gets quite a bit darker. Yeah, that has actually darkened it. Compare it over here. It's making it a little too dark, so let's pull that back. Again, trial and error. But I'm trying to not have these girders be so bright that it kind of pulls your eye over. I'm going to pull it back to about there. And boom, that's about right. Okay, now the cool thing about these control points, once you've got one dialed in, you press your Option key, and then you can click on it and get a new control point, just the way the other one was. And I'm bringing that, I'm going to do another one. So that's, now let's see, that's what that's doing, is it's kind of just bringing the values down of those girders there. And then maybe one other one right there. Okay, that's this one. Whoa, way too dark. So let's adjust that. See what it's doing is it's messing with the natural values there, so we don't want to do that. So I'll just fix that. Okay. All right, so that's pulled these values down so they're not just popping out. This area is a little bright too. I might want to just put another control point right here. Let's just bring that down a little bit. Okay, now what do I want to do? Just look at the whole image. You know, you want to scan the entire image, see if anything is I'm doing this very fast, but you will want to take your time. Look, in the darkroom, it took hours to print. So we're doing this a matter of minutes. So, take your time. Don't rush through this process. Right now I'm looking at it. I need to adjust these control points. They're a little too dark. So you come back. This is something that might take a little tinkering. This one is actually a little too light. So let's go over there a little bit. Okay. I am in pretty good shape here as far as this goes. Now, what I'm going to do now is do some finishing stuff. So if you've ever worked in a darkroom, you know that you can tone a print, which means you actually put it in a tray with chemicals, which will change the color. And you've got toning like this is sepia tone, which makes it kind of brown, yellow. I don't want to do that. Some people like that. I'm not a big fan. What I do like is selenium. And selenium gives it a slightly blue cast. I'm going to go with number 4 there, which is the lightest toning of that. So that added, let's just, again, look at our before and after here. It's getting in pretty good shape. And then you can split it again. You can see where we're going here. And then the last thing I want to do is I always like to burn the edges. In the darkroom, we like to burn edges because it keeps the viewer's attention inside the frame. If there's any white spots at the edge of the frame, it's going to tend to pull your eye out of the image. So this has got some really cool stuff. You can burn the edges, and it gives you different degrees of burning. This is number 1. See, that's fairly subtle. We can look again. Let's look at the before and after here, but you can see it's just a little darker on the edges now. Fairly subtle though. That's pretty good. I'm going to probably stick with that one. Let's just check, some of the other ones. This is a little more intense. We're burning it at number 2, and it's not bad actually. We could go with that. And then we've got no, there was just a lag. That's too dark on the side. All edges soft, number 1. Just a little softer. I like that. I think we're good there. And then we've got all edges soft at number 2. I'm going to go back to my first one. I think that's the best. Yeah. Okay. So, you try these things out and you test them. Okay. Now, just going back to our zone system for a minute. Wow, why is that so dark? That's not what I intended. Let's get out of that. Oh, there we go. There's just a lag. Okay. So, I think having done all these adjustments, I think we're in pretty good shape. So I'm going to just go back to our zone system.
We have a quick question that's kind of relevant to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
L. Spencer's asking, is burning the edges the same as vignetting?
Essentially, yes. That's what you do when you're burning the edges, you're vignetting. So I think we have a little more specific control on the edges in Silver Efex Pro. Vignetting tends to do it's a circular thing. So rather than doing a circular vignette or darkening, it's just focusing on the edges. So I definitely prefer it. But that's a good question. If you, in any other program, you can simply do a vignette. Now I want to show you guys what's happened. Remember we started out here and I had no zone zeros, pure blacks. Now we do. We've taken these areas and we brought that up. I don't mind losing that information, by the way. It's underneath, the structure. Who cares? Now let's see if we have any zone zeros. No, not really. We got some zone 1 there, or I'm sorry, this is zone 9 in this cloud. That's about as far as we're going to go, so that's fine. Okay, I've done enough work on this. If I'm going to print this, I would spend a lot more time. I would do a test print because, look, here's the thing. It's going to look a certain way on your screen, which is very different than the way it's going to look on printed paper. So you're always going to do test prints. So I'm going to, for now, this is done. I'm going to hit apply. And what it's going to do is save this image. I've already clicked on the non-destructive editing. There's a little thinking process. Yes, this is Nik's. This is Silver Efex Pro. And, we just went through an editing process with it. Okay, now let's do one of the other ones I did the other day. So what do we got here? We have, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to do another one. So yes, this is Silver Efex Pro. By the way, Jared, while I'm doing this, they do have a free offer. I think it's a 30-day trial that you guys can get. So when the show is over, go ahead and download it for free. Doesn't cost you anything. You can try it. And let's look at this picture. This is a very kind of also mundane photograph. Nothing really exciting. So what? It's a so what photograph. Like, okay, you got the Golden Gate Bridge. The only thing I do like about it a lot is I like this S curve here. I like the bridge. I like the water. But nothing much exciting going on here. I guess I already tweaked this a little bit. So I brought the blacks. Let's see what I did here. That's a little too much. Let's just pull that back. And then sometimes you edit your own adjustments. We definitely don't want to go any further on the whites. Highlights, I might pull that down a little bit. Yeah, and I might open the shadows a little bit. Just a little bit. I don't want to open them too much because I don't really want to change those values. Okay. There's looks like a sensor spot. No, that's actually on my screen. That's not a sensor spot. That's one thing. Sometimes you go, is that on the screen or is that a sensor spot? Okay, I think we're good. I've done just those initial adjustments, and now I'm going to open in Silver Efex Pro. Let's see the magic. Yes, I want to keep the adjustments that I've just made. And there you go. I would say yes, you should definitely check out the latest version that's got a lot of cool features, and you can, you can decide if you want to upgrade. Okay, here we go. I love this, guys. This is so much fun. So we've got our setups, our presets. You can see the ones that I've starred are the ones that I have in my favorites here. I'm not going to go through 58 presets every time. So I've already picked the ones. That's neutral. And again, that's high contrast. Way too much contrast. Don't want to do that. Hey, that might be cool. What I like is it's really bringing out those clouds. That's number 5. Number 6. Could be good. Number 15. Whoa, there we go again. Full dynamic range. Kind of cool. Let's see what else we got here. Nope. I lose the clouds there. This is called More Silver. I think I'm going to go with this one. Let's just do a comparison. Boy, I don't know. Go back and forth. I don't like that we're losing a lot of value. Yeah, it's too dark. I'm going to go with the same one I used on the last one. So there you go. By the way, there is a little bit of noise in these clouds, and I would have dealt with that ahead of time. If there's going to be noise in an image, it's usually going to show up in places like the clouds. So that's okay. That should have been fixed before we started our process, but you can do it later if you want. I'm going to close that preset window. I got my real estate back. Let's do what I did over here, and let's see what we got in the different zones. Nothing showing up in zone 0 and zone 1. Not much. Zone 2, it starts to show up. Nothing in zone 10, I'm sure. No. Okay. So that tells me, again, what I want to try to achieve is a full dynamic range. So let's see what we got here. I'm going to do, went back. There, look, that's where we started. kind of amazing. Let's go back to where we were with Silver Efex. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. Oh, come on, Mark. Get your buttons together here. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. What happens is because I've got Lightroom, there we go. I'll get rid of that so I don't do that again. Let's check out the filters. For me, it's a good place to start because if you were out photographing, what would you do? You'd put a filter on. I'm going to guess, again, my red filter is going to do the work that I want. Why? Because I know it's going to bring out the sky. And I'm going to say that was going to do it. So it's going to be very similar to what we did with the last one, with the Eiffel Tower. I'll just leave that. I don't need to play around and check any other ones. And now let's see what film I'm going to use. Guess what? I'm probably going to use Panatomic X again. Yep. Bingo. Look at how crisp this got. Let's do a comparison. So we've really brought it out already. We've made this into an interesting photograph from something that has absolutely no. You wouldn't send this to anybody. This one I'm getting kind of interested in though. Okay. So what else do I need to do here? I think the value here is a little bit too bright. I'm going to change that. So I'll just put a control point here. And let's make it a little smaller so that I'm just making multiple control points. That's fine. I'll do it right there. But I don't want to do this yet, so I'm going to get rid of it. Okay, I don't want to add control points until I've got my area selected. I just want to get a little bit smaller, so there we go. Now I'm just going to bring down the value there. I'm just going to pull the brightness down. Again, there's different ways you can do this. Let's try pulling the whites down and see what happens. Yeah, that actually did it. That's it just brought down that area. So that's actually really a good way to go because I'm not changing the values of this stuff over here. I'm just changing the value of the path. Okay, now that I've got that, I'm going to hit Option. I'm going to put that same control point, same adjustment over here, same one over here, and same one over here. I'm just holding the Option key down in my Mac, and it's making new control points, copying them. And that's your Alt key on a PC. So I'm just taking the value of the path down a little bit, just so it doesn't pull my eye too much. I'd probably tinker with that. I might have brought it down a little bit too much. I'll just try this there. Yeah, I think you could, again, there's endless tinkering. There is a little sensor spot here, I think. So that we'll fix in Lightroom later. Okay, what else do I need to do? That's about it. I might just, again, there's plenty of structure. I don't see anything I really need to change. There's texture on the water. This is kind of cool. You can see I got up. There's a video, by the way, of me taking this photograph, making this photograph. We don't take photographs, we make them here. But there is a video. Maybe Jared could pop it in to our description later on. You can see the making of this photograph. What else do I need to do? Not a lot. I'm looking back at there's that zone 0. We've got that pretty well dialed in. And zone 10, nothing there. A little bit, maybe what I should do is just do a little bit of an enhancement of the whites because I'm not seeing any. Let's just see if I can bring out the whites here. Let's just move amplify whites over and see what happens. Yeah, I don't want to do too much because now I'm bringing in that foreground a little too much. See the foreground here, but we're going to fix that with our edge burning. So let's see. Don't have it. Yeah, there's a little bit on the zone 9s. That's close enough for me. Okay, now I'm just going to, Edge burn, just like I did. I'm going to do the 2 things I did on the last one. Do you need to do this on every photograph? No, I just prefer the selenium. I think it adds a nice little touch. And then burning edges, I'm probably just going to do what I did last time. All edges. Let's see what that does. It's a little dark. I don't like that. I'm going to go to all edges soft. Let's try that, because that made it a little too dark. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's a little too dark for me. Let's just pull that off and see what happens. I'm going to, let's see, burn edges. Let's just try it again, soft. Yeah, okay. It did darken. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's better. Now we're good. Sometimes there's just a lag between, your different settings. So this stuff in the foreground here is now darkened, so my eye isn't being pulled there. What I like about it is we have the S-curve here basically leading to the bridge. That's always a great compositional tool. The bridge itself has a mood line connected with it. If you've read my books, you'll know I actually use the San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, as an example of a mood line. And there's, what's interesting is these upward lines going up like that are kind of uplifting, sort of optimism and that sort of thing. And there's, that's the feeling you get when you come through the Golden Gate. You've come to a really cool area. There's a lot of innovation. There's a lot of artistry and creativity, and that's kind of in the mood line itself. I feel like the whole thing is just a tiny bit too dark. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my global adjustments up here, and I'm going to adjust the dynamic brightness. What's cool about dynamic brightness is it doesn't really change the 2 ends of the zone. It will adjust kind of in the middle a little bit. I just tweaked it up a tiny bit. Remember this, guys, when you're developing or processing an image, sometimes it's just tiny tweaks and tiny adjustments that make all the difference. Okay, before we leave this, let's do our comparison. This is where we started. This is where we are. What do you guys think? Big difference, right? If you split it in half, you can really see it. I mean, we brought the clouds out. We've given it a punch. Again, I would test print this. I may change a lot of it after I test print it. But for now, that's good to go. Okay? So how about you guys? I got a few minutes here if you want to tell me what your questions are about Silver Efex Pro, or any part of processing for that matter if you want. I'll be happy to take a couple of minutes here and address those. And, I find this processing stuff really a lot of fun. I find it a very interesting thing to do. And here's our, so that actually, there is that image, okay? And here's this one. This earlier one. This is actually an earlier process. I don't like it as much as this one we just did here. So let's do our before and after here from Lightroom, because basically, here we go. So reference, okay, whatever. So let's do that. It didn't click on the right thing. Let's just get it here. Okay, boom. Why is it giving me a problem? Okay, it doesn't like that. All right, I'm not going to mess around with this right now. So get out of that. I think I just pressed the wrong button there. I did. Okay, so let's go here. This is one thing I love about doing live demos is you're kind of like fiddling with your stuff while you're on the live demo. There we go. That's not what I want. I don't know why. I'm sorry. There we go. That's what we wanted. Now it's changing it back. Okay.
Live is so much fun, isn't it?
Isn't it fun? fiddling around with your controls. Anyway, this was an earlier process. This is what we just did. I think this is a better version. This is what we did with the Eiffel Tower. This is what it looked like when we started. Not much. That's what we call an net photograph. And now we are, wow, big difference, right? What do you guys think? Okay, Yvette likes the clouds. If you guys have any questions, now is your chance. Otherwise, we'll go into some news here. So we've got a big sale coming up in the United States. It is Labor Day. What does that mark? It marks the end of our summer. So we've got a big sale that is going to hit right now. You guys are the first ones to hear about it. You guys can get my course, Advancing Your Photography, my composition course, or my course with Bob Holmes, Shooting Out in the Field. They're normally how much, Jared? Like 400 each? Ish?
Yeah, they're 400 to 200 each.
400, 200 each. You can get them now this weekend, starting right now for $97. Come on. And you can get all three of them for $275. You guys should get, if you do not have these courses, you need to get them. They're really good courses. I do say so myself. Look, it's Marc Silber taking you through the entire book of Advancing Your Photography as a video course, right? Video class. You can refer to this back and forth and use it with your book. And I even talk about Silver Efex Pro in there. And then you've got my composition book course, 83 compositional tools. You need those. You got to have those compositional tools. I showed you a couple of them. Right here, there's two big ones. So this is angles. You know, shooting up at an angle can make a big difference. This is also geometry, which is another compositional tool. And in this one that I talked about over here, the Golden Gate Bridge, so we have a leading line, which is an S-curve, leading your eye right up to the bridge. A lot of compositional stuff going on there. But you need to know those things. You got to have your toolkit. And the other one that's just awesome is me going out with Bob Holmes, our favorite guy, and shooting a 2-day shoot for a book that he was putting together for some California wineries. There's a lot of information in there, you guys. This, for $275, you're going to get a huge education in photography. I'm not kidding. So you guys should get it. This is your chance. We don't discount these prices. You know, every now and then, and this is one of those times. So you guys should take advantage of it. If you haven't already got them, definitely go there. Okay, other than that, Dan Milner is going to join our AYP Club, AYP Plus class this Tuesday, where we have the class making books, and he's going to come in and basically give us his critique of those books. We're going to finalize them. These are gems from our good friend Dan Milner. That's Tuesday at 10 a.m. If you guys are not a member of AYP Plus, you should get in there. And it's exciting because we've taken this entire class and we're producing books. This is so awesome. I'm going to be gone next week, right? No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm going to be here next week, but the following week I'm going to be gone. I'm not going to be able to broadcast live. I'm going to Maine and going sailing around, and the chances of getting Wi-Fi out there are basically zero. So you're not going to see me, but we'll have something cool for you guys. Jared, have I forgotten anything? Left anything out?
I think that pretty much covers everything. So.
All right. So listen, you guys, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and enable the bell so you don't miss our shows. Leave your comments. I always love reading your comments, and I will answer them if they need an answer. Sometimes I just go like that. Fine. And share. Tell your friends about Advancing Your Photography. Get those courses yourself. And last but not least, remember to get out and capture your own images of life. Take care, you guys. Stay creative. I love you. See you soon.